So I did something interesting that I'd like to share with you, and I know you've been doing it as well. Can we just have a meandering conversation about a weird thing?
Well, when you set it up like that, it sounds like it's going to be boring and dumb, but I think I know what the topic is, and I don't think it's going to meander at all. I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Do you remember what was happening in the first phone call we ever had, you and I?
I remember exactly what was happening. You were cleaning out your garage, not metaphorically, maybe metaphorically, but literally you were cleaning out your garage, and I walked to this plateau kind of on the backside of my house there in Lander, Wyoming, and the elk had come down out of the mountains and were in the field down there. I watched the sun go down. I chatted with you, and I watched the elk grazing in that field. We had a nice talk.
Do you remember us sizing each other up? Do you remember what that was like? That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't really understand YouTube or the internet, and I hadn't fully connected the dots at that point on just that, oh, no, I've actually seen things that you've done. I mean, we literally just bounced a few messages back and forth on Twitter. I think that was it. I did not know what I was getting or what we were doing. It was just, a friendly phone call with somebody who seemed friendly.
I think we were having a conversation and deciding whether or not we wanted to be friends. That was I remember it.
Oh, I don't think that. You announced it at about the 3/4 mark of the thing, like a person with a disorder. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Have you heard the term Rism
I'm like,
with the
tism? Yeah, clearly, dude.
Have you heard Rism with the tism?
No, I don't know what you're talking about at all, but it sounds offensive.
It is offensive. So there's a...
okay, all right.
There's a... you know what Riz is, right?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. You want to ask me some more questions like that? Like just...
No, we're not going to talk about
pull up like
that kind of stuff.
Urban Dictionary or other slang.
All right,
okay, cool.
So Riz, meaning charisma. So Riz is like when you're... Basically, back in the day, we'd call it like, oh, man, he's macking on her. Meaning he is trying...
Oh, my goodness.
I know, right? That's a deep...
Destin Sandlin.
It's a deep cut, right?
I would have... Dude, that term... That little tiny fragment of memory in my brain was hanging on by the tiniest of threads, all frayed and ready to just snap and go away into the abyss of forgetfulness. And now you've renewed it for at least a decade. So, macking on someone? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That was a thing people said once. You're absolutely right. I can't argue.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right? And so, and then you had the Mac Daddy, like somebody that's really good at macking on girls. The modern equivalent, of course,
Chris
is
Cross.
Mac Daddy, make
that's
you
where that's from,
jump,
right?
Jump! Yeah. So, what are we?
Never mind, you win. It is a meandering disaster.
Yeah,
you were right
right
all along. Okay, continue.
Okay, yeah. So,
rap.
So, to Riz is to Mac. To Riz means you've got charisma, and so I saw a term the other day that I absolutely adored on the internet. It was one of those like weird dating shows where there's a dude, and for some reason there's like 4 girls vying for his attention. It's like the dating game in the 60s, only modern.
And they have balloons and they pop them? Or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around. But basically these 4 girls were trying to interact with this guy, and there was one lady. She was lovely. She was gorgeous, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to hear me sing? Before I talk, can I run over?" And like she like adjusted his collar. She was doing everything she could to get his attention, and the other girls were like, "This is a little over the top." And I saw a person in the comments say, "Rism with the tism," meaning using the autism to riz on the person.
Oh my God.
And I just decided that I will allow it. I'm going to allow that because it is so good.
It's strong and it rhymes.
I know, right?
And if it didn't rhyme, I mean, really, what is the line between offensive and not offensive? So often
courage.
It's just in the delivery. Yeah, courage and delivery.
Courage. I mean, there's other things too, like, I don't know. Yeah, there's other things.
Actual content and subject matter.
Yeah,
yes.
there's that.
Man, honestly, to me, what you just described about that dating video sounds like everything you'd want to do if you had to be there because of a contractual obligation.
Oh, yeah.
But needed to ensure that you sabotaged your chances.
Oh, yeah.
and did not get picked. Here, let me just manage you starting now. We met 30 seconds ago. Ugh.
Right.
Ugh. Here, let me just sing. It's from The Greatest Showman. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing? But okay, I don't know. I haven't dated for a really long time, so I don't know how the things are.
Yeah. So we were doing that on the phone, you and I. We were trying to decide if we were going to interact. Maybe I was a little like the girl. I was a little forward.
Oh, hey.
You're doing head shake, yes.
You did pretty...
I hear what you're saying.
We're not on video call, but you know.
I know you're doing a head shake, yes.
In that first conversation, very early on, you hit me with like a job interview question. That stands out to me. You asked me something like, so where do you see your life going? Where do you imagine yourself in 5 years? And what is your plan for the things that you're doing on the internet? I was like, my goodness, that, okay, I'll do my best. And I was like, no one has asked me a question that directly, that early in a relationship ever, maybe. You forced me to think about stuff, but at that point I was like, oh, well, we're deciding whether or not to be friends. Then later you were like, we're deciding whether or not to be friends. I was like, well, yeah, no, because of what you said earlier, remember?
Well, it was clear.
Yeah, I recall that one very well.
I know a few people in my life, I've had conversations with them, and I could realize very quickly on in the conversation, okay, we're on a very similar wavelength. This is different. But the reason I asked you that specific question is I had asked a similar person. It was...
Okay. All right.
Tina, thank you for bleeping that. So I asked that person a similar thing, and the answer I got was not good. It was not a good answer. I realized, I thought our goals were aligned, and then it wasn't until I got to that question I was like, no, they are not aligned. And even if I really want to be your friend, we can do that, but ultimately we're going to end up in different places.
What did I say?
I don't remember.
Me neither.
No, but I think in the moment, it was clear to me when I reached out to you that you were making stuff on the internet and you were making what needed to be made, whether or not it was performing well in the algorithm or not. I remember that. What I was trying to figure out is, are you chasing the algorithm or are you doing this because it's right? And I just walked away from that conversation very solidly in the, he's not after selfish ambition and fame or all that kind of stuff. Whatever your answer was, it was something along those lines. I remember that. You're a full-time pastor at the time.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, you were good at it too. I remember.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right.
I've only heard you preach once, I think. Didn't you do it recently? Didn't you preach somewhere?
Yeah, I was up on Sunday. It was really fun. It's different now because, you're not at a church where you really know the people. I've been at this church, I've visited a few other times, so I know a few people. But sort of the art of pastoring it's not like the internet where you're just writing with a blunderbuss, like, boom, this is how I imagine maybe you are, potential internet viewer. I'm trying to just be the human I am and connect with the human you are, but we've never met. When you pastor a church, you know the stuff and you know the heavy stuff. And if you've been there for a while, you've been there for the ugly stuff and the difficult stuff. And so you're writing for that room. It's part of why I don't like this new trend at churches where they stream all their services. Like, I think you should go. If there are shut-ins or whatever, record the service and bring it to them. I don't like the idea of streaming worship services because it changes how you act and it changes who you write for. The beauty of pastoring is you are writing for that room and that room alone.
Ooh.
And you don't say something different or believe something different. It's not like your beliefs are fluid depending on what room you're talking to. But there's a certain degree of caution to the wind. Hey, it's just the 400 of us in this room. We're talking. It's why I don't like two services. I understand places have to do it. But I want to talk to everybody at once who's in this community, in this circle of people. I want to write it for you once, and I want to work it through with you once. I don't want to read you a script. And so when I go and do that now, it's a little bit different because I'm not really writing to people I know. So you kind of try different stuff, and that's where I'm at now with it. Try to connect as a human early on, but ultimately I try to just defer to their actual pastor and make sure they know, like, you've got a really talented person here who cares about you and is in the trenches with you and is writing for you. And you need to appreciate that and not chase after dumb internet people who have dumb internet clicks, because they don't know you or love you. They're a nice supplement, but the person who's in the trenches with you in real life, writing for you to serve you every week, pay attention to them.
Okay, that's wildly interesting for two reasons. The first reason it's interesting is my church does put sermons online, and we do have multiple services, and I think we do it very, very well. And so I agree. I disagree with you. I feel like I almost have to, because it's working well for us. But at the same time, I see why you say it, because I have seen it. I have seen it being done very poorly. I'm of two minds on that. I think we happen to have a great thing going at my church, and I like it. I'm not just disagreeing with you on that because I think that I have to defend what we have going on, but I think you make a good point. I do think you make a good point, because when I say things candidly to you, you can get to the real place better. And if I know that the video is going to go online at Smarter Every Day, or we're going to have this conversation in this podcast, then I don't get to the real place with you as much. I kind of hold back just a little bit. And if I was a pastor, which I am not, I can imagine that if I was in the pulpit, I would be more apprehensive to go to the real place if I knew it was going to be published online. So I see why you say it. Also, I'm very, very thankful that we do have services online, because if I'm out of town, I really like to listen to it. But I've also heard people use that as a crutch. Oh, yeah, we watched that online. And I always think to myself, that's bullcrap. That's a bullcrap answer. You just don't want to go to church, and you're just telling me that to kind of feel okay about it.
Yeah, and it matters. If we're having this conversation 10 years ago, when church was at the height of unfashionable, new atheism was at the height of fashionable, no hard feelings to them, no hard feelings to church, no hard feelings to anybody. Time happens, culture unfolds. Good heavens, man. God bless everybody who's lived through the last 20 years. This is the most seismic shift that's happened the quickest in the history of human culture and the human mind. If you're alive and you are on this spinning ball right now, God bless you. You've been through something that humans aren't conditioned for. We have no point of reference for whatever it is that is happening to us and that we're doing to each other right now. I mean, we thought that social media would be the craziest thing we saw in our lifetime. And now AI is happening. I mean, our lives are so weird, dude. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to relate to each other. It's unprecedented. It's hard to know how to go to church. It's hard to know how to believe. It's hard to know how not to believe. It's hard to know how to interact with people who see things different. Stuff is so weird, and some of us are just old enough to remember right before it got weird. And that's even weirder yet. There's so many layers here to all of this. We just need to be a little bit patient with each other. And so I'm not picking a fight with anybody when I say this, but church was out of fashion for a while. It is in fashion now. And I don't think it's the kind of thing that can be neatly digitized for exactly the reason you just said. Church is sort of the anti all of this stuff that is cluttering up our lives. It's the most timeless institution we're still connected to. I mean, if it's true, good heavens, it holds the promise with it of something that goes far beyond all of the machinations of man and our brief little lifetimes and our silly politics and our fights and our social preferences. It is so much bigger if it's true. And I think that the medium is the message, and there are certain things that you can do that change the way it feels, and that you're saying transcendent things, but the way it's presented and the tools you use to present it can kind of undercut that a little bit. Your church does a great job of compensating for that. I know the leadership of your church. I respect them very much. You might go to my favorite church in the country. I'm wildly impressed with what's going on there. I wish there were a billion churches like yours. Also, I know your pastor very well, and he is a shrewd man who understands, like you do, and I'd like to think like I do, that there are different levels of candor that make sense given the medium of communication. And you know what those are. You subconsciously do that, right? Like we say this much if we're talking through this medium, this much here, this much here. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want this episode to be an apologetic about why church is good, because there's, as you know, there's people here that aren't of any particular faith background at all.
Dude, I just said God bless everybody.
One thing I do want to bring up, we talked about cleaning the garage. I was doing something, and I discovered something in the garage that ties into everything you just said, and I think it's fascinating.
All right.
When I was cleaning the garage last night, I found a muffin pan of discs. Do you know what a muffin pan is? Do you remember that? Remember that term?
No, what is that?
What does that Do you remember the stack?
I've got muffin top.
You know the stack of CDs and DVDs that would go in that little container? I've always heard that called a muffin pan. Maybe it's the wrong term.
So I'm picturing all of my CDs I would put on a spindle.
Yes, that.
Okay, that's a muffin.
I've heard that. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. I mean, things get rattled around.
If those are the two options, then you must be right.
No,
because you're clearly not stupid. You've painted me into a corner.
No, it's probably a spindle. So I found several spindles of discs. And I started looking at them, and I found some old 5 Iron Frenzy CDs and some MXPX and like some really good old music. It was fantastic. But I also found some early videos that I made for YouTube, and I burned them in DVD format so you could play them on a TV. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
I was able to get that. But I also found a special disc that was a disc that my father had made. He had a digital camera in the late 90s, a Sony Mavica. Do you remember those?
I absolutely do. You could put a little, what was it, 3.5 inch, 1.88 megabyte.
Was it 1.88? Like 1.44, I think?
1.44. I mean, I used to know all these numbers off the top of my head. Like they were the most important thing in the world to me, but I'm just so far removed from it now. But yeah, the floppy disk with the little metal slider, like the mini floppy disk, you literally put the disk, like your computer disk, in the side of that Mavica.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so my dad was...
Was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. My dad was an early adopter, and he had one. And I found it was a DVD or CD, I don't know what it was, but it had gobs of photos on it from the late 90s. It was interesting because my dad, I realized... George, our mutual friend, has accused me of having a thing where I want to document things. You kind of do it too. You want to take a photo of the sunset or the elk, right? Do you feel a compulsion to do that?
Yeah, of course I do. You know this. You maybe even a little more than me. You went through a phase where your impulse to document was compromised by Instagram. Nothing personal, but you
True.
did. You just weren't as present for a while when you were throwing more stuff on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
And so since that tapered off, you've kind of gone back to what you have always been, which is a documentarian. If this matters, let's take a picture of it. And I don't like all the things that you document. You documented my head kinked at a weird angle at a Christmas party one time, and I had like 2 weird lines in the back of my bald head. I still see that picture when I organize photos, and I think, jackass, what the heck is that? You don't need to document that crap. So you maybe over-document a little.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like your documentation maybe has a little bit of a message to it, like maybe lose some skull weight. I don't even know what that one was supposed to be. But yeah, you document
You just
things,
created an incredible
almost
flashback.
Always endearing.
So I remember...
You remember the incident?
No. I remember a different incident. So way back then when Dad had the camera, and we had this program called Picasa.
I know the one.
Yeah, it was a program to document all of your, basically all of your photos. Mm-hmm. And so we had some people over, and digital cameras were a new thing. And we were going through all the photos, just like, oh yeah, check out these pictures. And we were just scrolling through. And all of a sudden, I'll just say it, a toilet comes up, and there's a turd in the toilet.
What was in it?
That's shaped perfectly like the capital letter F. And they're like, well, what is that? And I said, I'm so sorry. They're like, what is it? I was like, I don't know. Clearly it's the capital letter F.
Look at
They're
it.
like, it's a really good F. Like, how did you get the right angle in there? And that's only 2 turds.
Just hips, a lot of hips.
I was just like, I don't know, but my thought is if I just document every time I poop a letter, then I'll have the font. I'll have the poop font, and I can write.
Dude.
I can write things in the poop font. And I just remember trying to articulate this and it not making any sense.
It does make sense. Who were these people who couldn't understand it? It's so obvious.
I don't know.
Dude, this
is pre-Photoshop.
I've got probably 13 out of 26
No,
letters.
you do
I'm not kidding. Absolutely. Dude, and for a while, like in the early days of smartphones and stuff, I had a couple of friends where,
Dude.
I don't know, like, yeah, we're in our early 20s. Like sometimes you would send somebody a really interesting turd. And so if the letter was their last name, I would send it to them and just be like, no comment. Just there it is. Just a monogrammed turd.
I regret this conversation, but I think it's important. So
why is this important?
I had this friend, Jake. So Jake in college, he lived across the apartment complex from me, and I would ask Jake to come over and do stuff, and sometimes he would come over, sometimes he wouldn't, but like, you know, he was a rough get in terms of friends. Okay. I'd be like, hey, you want to come over and do blah, blah, blah? You know, we're playing video games or whatever. He's like, I'm whatever. And then one day I just remember calling him and be like, dude, capital Q. I pooped a capital Q. He's like, what? I was like, it happened. He was like, I'll be right there.
Dude.
You can like hear the pitter patter of his feet running out the door. And he's like, show it to me. And it was, it was one swirl and then a little bitty, like a clinger that ended up making the little Q mark on the bottom. That's got to have a name.
That's incredible.
It was amazing. Didn't take a photo of it.
That right there is the holy grail of the turd font alphabet.
Is it really though?
Think about it. Just about everything. What's harder than that?
Y is pretty difficult. Well, maybe not. So anyway.
I don't think so, man.
Dude.
Just limber knees and some intentionality, and you've got a Y.
Okay. The point is, my dad had a digital camera, and he took. We went low road there. Now I'm regretting this. I don't want my dad to hear this now because I'm about to tell you something.
Oh, I had lower.
Let's don't.
I had lower.
Okay. Well,
I said I had. I didn't do it.
So, my dad took all these photos, and I found the disc. I found the disc of the photos.
How many photos are we talking?
Man, 2,000, 1,000, 2,000. But what's interesting is I recognize that my dad documented things differently than I do. Now, when I'm taking a photo, I'm like, oh, that's cute. Look at me. And then people will look over at me and I'll take their photo. Or like, oh, that's a big fish. Look at me. Mm-hmm. Hold the fish up. But that's not what Dad did. You got your phone there?
I do.
I'm just going to text you a couple of the photos.
Hang on. Go to the super secret phone.
The super secret phone? Okay, got it.
It looks better on there. Hang on a second. I'm grabbing the super secret phone. Just wait a second.
Okay. It's actually in my phone as secret. So I'm going to text you some photos, and I want you to tell me what you notice about how the photos are taken. It's pretty interesting.
I literally heard everything you said because I guess my headphones were up loud enough as I went and got the super secret phone.
Uh-huh.
So I will tell you what I see in these photos.
Okay, so don't.
I'm set up and I'm ready.
Please don't describe the photo. But what I'd like for you to do, if you don't mind, is just describe the people, like what they're doing in the photos. Like, do they know the camera's there? That kind of thing. It's just a really interesting thing that my dad did that I don't do, and I think it's. I don't know. I might change the way I do things based on this. You see some of those photos?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want me to describe anything about what I'm... Well, here, I'm going to go very vague.
Yeah, go very vague.
In these descriptions. These are normal social settings.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy eventful happening here. These are the kind of things that happen every week, all the time. Stuff that you would take for granted. Here's a social setting that I see every week, just a normal thing. Again, something that you
go ahead and explain what you see.
I see a men's group getting together and having a meal together at a very long table, and they're chatting. It looks like they've been working, given the attire that they have on. They're not dressed up for a fancy thing. I see some overalls there. This is not a fancy meal. We've got disposable plates and cups and everything else. And no one is aware of the camera.
Yes.
This looks exactly like what such a meal for men who maybe did a volunteer workday in the morning and now it's noon and they're in the basement of maybe a church or a community center or something. This is exactly what those meals look like.
Nobody's looking at the camera.
No, not at all. Here's a meal, looks like at a restaurant, a little cafe or something, not real fancy. And it's a family. I'm not sure who the family is. I'm not sure if I recognize these people or not. Just even the soda containers and stuff on the table tell me about the age it's in, but nobody's paying attention. The kids are getting rowdy. They've been eating a little bit too long. The kids are ready to go. One's slumped over. One's up goofing around and is now up and about. This looks like a church event, maybe a wedding. There's something obviously churchy about it. I can't say for sure.
But in terms of
people gathered there,
in terms of photography, they're not good, right? Some of them are well composed, but they're when you say
you don't throw these on Instagram, they're not going to get likes.
No, not at all. This is what my dad did, and I had lunch with him today, and I said, Dad, I realize that you document things differently than I do. What were you doing? And he said, oh, well, I just tried to catch people in motion. And I said, what do you mean? He said, a lot of people... Go ahead.
Continue.
He said...
You still have this baseball glove. I'm sorry, I just got distracted because you literally still have that baseball glove.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And so you see the adult going up to the Chevy Suburban and looking in at the kid in the car seat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What my dad did is he captured people, in his words, were in motion. And he said, I just tried to get people in everyday things. What I did last night is when I discovered this CD, I went through, and because I have a Mac, I have a USB external DVD drive that I found in the garage, and I hooked it all up. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the Ark of the Covenant. And I just started dragging them to iMessage to whoever was in the photo.
Ha!
And
yes, you did.
And systematically, people all said the same thing. The first thing they said was, where did you get this? It was almost accusatory. They're like, you showed me, like, that only exists in my mind. How do you know that? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Here's a photo I'm about to send you. It's two of my really good friends growing up, John Michael and Tyler. And they're at a wedding, and Tyler's in a tux. John Michael's leaning against a wall. And they were the best of friends, and they were two of my closest friends at church, and we did all kinds of stuff together. It was a casual moment between them, and they were not aware of the camera, and my dad captured it. And I sent it to both of them, and it blew their minds. They're like, whoa, that's us as we were. That's us from an external perspective. The thing that really stood out is in the photo that you described of all the men eating at the dinner.
Mm-hmm.
What that was is at the church I went to when I was growing up, we decided that we want a place to eat meals together. So we want to create a fellowship hall, we called it. And so the men of the church all got together. One of them was an engineer or something. I don't know how it worked. They got a drawing, and we just made the fellowship hall. And the women of the church fed the men. And that's what we did.
That's what that meal was.
That's what that meal was, yeah. Over the course of several weeks in the summer, we just went and built it. When I look at that photo, I know many of those men, but there's a lot of them that were kind of NPCs in my life. Do you know, how would you describe the people in the church you grew up in that were not the immediate people you interacted with, but the people just like one step beyond that?
Yeah, I know for a while there, NPC was a term that people would be sensitive about because it's like a criticism. It's like kind of slanderous. It's pejorative to say like, oh, you're a person who doesn't think about things. That term has gone out of fashion, but NPC, I think of that as a term from video games. Like the way you're using it is the way it ought to be used. It's a non-playable character, right? It's somebody who has a couple of options you can choose from in stilted conversation, and they are background characters in the story. Tons of NPC adults at church and school and growing up, and They were all important in their own way, but I didn't really understand how. They were just nice people who were part of the story. Can you name all these people who are here building?
Not all of them. I've got maybe 50%.
Do you recognize all of them?
Yes. And that's what struck me. I sent this to my 5th grade teacher, and I said, who was this man here, standing here? And she would tell me his name. I recognized that I knew the man next to him, but I didn't know him. That guy was always there, and I didn't know him, but he was always there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does.
He was always there, so he's like a background character, but he was faithful in always being there. Because of that, he was like this foundation of continuity, or I don't know how to even articulate what I'm feeling. It makes me realize that man occupied a place in my mind, even if I didn't have a personal relationship with him, but he was just there. And he faithfully was there every single Sunday, Wednesday night, whatever it was. And he brought stability to my life. And I'm grateful for that. Also, that generation has passed. I started firing these photos off to all kinds of people. Some of the men in the photos, I would send them the photos, and they're like, whoa, this is amazing. I was like, yeah, it is. And I think what's so amazing about it is it's not a posed photo. It's the way Dad captured it. Like, hey, we just went and put shingles on the roof, and we were tired, and the ladies were feeding. I mean, that one of those photos is like a 65, 70-year-old man on top of the roof putting shingles on, just swinging a hammer because he could, and he did things. It's just an interesting thing. I felt things. And I know you're working on photos now as well. You sent me a couple. What's your general feeling about all this?
As culture goes and evolves, so go the photos, even on my hard drive.
What do you mean?
What a photo means has changed. I don't know if you can take pictures like the ones that you just sent me now, because everyone's so aware of the camera.
Oh.
There's this documentary that has such an outsized influence on my life for how not big a deal the documentary was. There was this stuff that PBS did in the maybe mid 2000s called Frontline. They did Frontline documentaries, and they were about cultural analysis. What's going on in our world? Well, they were ahead of the game in that PBS figured out something crazy is happening here. Like we were talking about earlier in this conversation, we're going to point a camera at it. We're going to try to document it and figure it out. The one that stood out to me the most, I've told you about it before, is called The Merchants of Cool. It's still on YouTube. It's a 20-year-old documentary at this point.
I don't remember this.
And
what is it?
The kids, I don't know, it feels like it's all in that sort of Malcolm Gladwell kind of ballpark of thought and authorship. Bowling Alone was a book that came out that dealt with that kind of stuff. Putnam is the name of the author. He's a Harvard sociologist, I think. And there's a lot of navel gazing during that era. Like, we're very important. We're going to study. We're going to be anthropologists of this moment in history. And some of it was really dumb and fruitless and didn't ask the right questions and didn't have a broad enough lens. It was myopic. But I really liked this Frontline series, and particularly The Merchants of Cool. And it was about sort of that whole Viacom family. Do you remember Viacom?
Yeah.
As a company? What do you remember about it?
Viacom to me sounds like like they used to make movies, right? Am I misremembering that?
Yeah, they owned everything. They were like, this is back when 6 companies owned everything that made up your really unique, individualized, youthful life in the early 2000s. It's like, I buy my clothes at PacSun. I'm very different than Hollister kids. No, you're not. They're the same company. They're the same people. They know they can't sell the same thing to everybody because they're selling individualism. So they have to have 20 different stores to peddle the illusion of individualism. And I don't care what anybody thinks. That was the vibe back then. They had to make it look like there was all these different kinds of music, but it was all owned by the same people. The same people are writing all of it. They had to make the movies seem like they were all different, but they were all the same thing. Everything was the same thing. And Viacom was the company that was really at the hub of all of that. MTV, everything that made culture was being made by the same stuff there just before the social media revolution and a ways into it. This Merchants of Cool shined a light at it, and they went and talked with actual kids in their houses. And then they went on spring break to Panama City, Florida, is I think where they went, like straight south of you, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been down there for spring break?
No. I've been there near spring break, but not for spring break. No desire. No.
I think you and I were there, maybe not Panama City. Maybe were we in Destin?
No, we went to Panama City when you went down there.
That was Panama City.
That was Panama City, yeah.
Yeah, and it was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was spring, but not spring break. This video paints a really ugly picture of it. And the documentarian is saying, here's something new I'm noticing on this. It's like my 5th journey to document young people in their native environment on spring break.
The male of the
Something
species
happened.
approaches the female and tries to rism with the
That's
tism.
what it was. Oh, dear. I'm still not sure I'll allow it.
Okay.
And the documentarian is saying something has changed in the last year or two of doing this. The kids are now aware of the camera. The young ladies immediately switch into stuff that looks, I'm going to choose my language carefully, like provocative filmmaking. These high school kids, these college girls, they just flipped into like this gone wild mode. I mean, if you remember that reference from back in the day, as soon as the camera is turned on. And they're showing you, here's how everybody's acting, dudes and girls, when they don't think the cameras are pointed at them. As soon as the cameras are on them, they just flip into this behavior.
I wondered how
that doesn't make sense.
I wonder how you were going to connect
natural.
the two things. That this makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So
you're saying in these photos, these people aren't aware. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And a camera meant something different back then. So even if they were aware, you're not going to get out of them the programmed behavioral responses that you're going to get out of people now. Have you ever watched one of those colorized videos without sound of like Detroit in 1921 or anything like that on the internet?
Yeah, I have.
What do you notice about how the people act when they see the camera?
It depends. The one I'm thinking about is like San Francisco 1901 or something like that, or not long after the fire.
Okay.
I'm imagining one of those. There was one, I forget where it was. It was in Europe, and they had an elevated train, and I was like, man, that looks extremely modern. But people don't really interact with the camera much, with the exception of that James Cameron World War I. What was the name of that thing where they filmed the soldiers, and the soldiers would look at the camera and they would kind of wave? So they were aware of the camera, but it was so weird to have a camera. You had to have it on a tripod. So the tripod kind of gave away the fact there was a camera there. But then there was this period of time where there weren't tripods. You could just kind of do it with your handheld, and it kind of blended in a little bit. So I guess to answer your question, people typically would look at the camera either all in, like, oh, this is strange, or they would ignore it. And then I think what I'm hearing you say is when this flipped, people looked at the camera in a knowing way, and they wanted to be videoed or photoed. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I watch those old videos. I see basically 3 things. The old guys are like, I'm not doing this freaking crap. This isn't the disaster of a nightmare future world I want. I'm not even acknowledging that dumb thing. Point it at me if you must, but I'm just going to man my shop. The ladies are all like, oh my. And so they pose like it's a photograph, and like they don't understand what to do because it's a moving photograph. So they keep posing for like multiple photographs and then giggling, and then they kind of, and I'm talking like moms.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of giggle, and then they'll kind of come back, and they've got like the bustles and the big dresses and everything. And they're very bashful. Like you can see them kind of, just intuitively, they go into like a curtsy again and again and again and again and again because they just don't know what to do. And the kids, they're being screwballs, tongues out and arms waving.
And things don't change.
They really want to be in the video. Yeah, that's always been the same, right? So then you compare that with, the pre-Instagram age, and you get like, I'm trying to be on TV like MTV, because that was Instagram What do they do on MTV? Well, not particularly desirable things that would make your parents proud, but that's what we do. We're on spring break. Now you point a camera at somebody. What do they do? Like, what do you expect if you get out, let's say, your iPhone and you start pointing it at people at a social event? What would be the spectrum of reactions you would expect?
Girls instantly fix their hair. Instantly. And they try to do it in a subtle way that they're acting like they're not doing it, but they're totally doing it. They'll put a hand up and they'll grab the hair and move it out of their face, or sometimes a lady will put two hands up and, part her hair or something like that. Guys, I don't know. I know what I do. I'm aware of my double chins. So I'm aware that...
Really?
I am. Yeah, I'm aware of it. And so my dad told me this a long time ago. He's like, hey... if you take a photo from below you looking up, it's unflattering. But if you take a picture from above you looking down, it is more flattering. And so I'm aware of the different angles. And I don't like that about myself, but it's true.
What's wrong with that? Why wouldn't, if you can look 10% better in a shot by just being conscious of I'm in a shot right now, why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know. I mean, I just sent you a shot.
Why is that bad?
I don't know. Just like, look at this angle that I just sent you and just tell me, do you see what I'm saying?
I'm looking. I think you look great. What's the complaint? All I see is symmetry.
You played that so well,
You look
dude.
like I imagine a prince from a fairy tale.
Will you please delete that?
like maybe a Habsburg prince.
Matt.
From a fairy tale, real close to the end of their... Okay, yeah, I'll just delete that.
Okay, cool, because I've got some of you that I'll just... Yeah, thank you. So...
Okay, so that wasn't code for put it on Patreon.
No.
Okay, I didn't... Like, sometimes you mean the opposite thing of what you say. I wasn't sure.
No, I'm just aware of the camera angles and stuff like that. And, dude, I think it's a 2.5
You're right.
chin. Wow. God.
Downward...
That's rough.
An upward angle sucks, and it's particularly bad for women.
Yes.
Wait.
A
slightly downward
why is it
angle
particularly
is great
bad for women? I don't know why I agreed so quickly. Now I'm scared.
Because one of the things that your lizard subconscious brain causes you to notice, it's like, oh, that's feminine, that's a woman, is an hourglass-shaped neck extending from the jaw. When you learn how to draw comic books, that's one of the first things you learn.
Really?
Is this little hourglass shape. Even on a very strong woman, there's an hourglass shape, and the neck starts further in under the jawline, usually. Whereas a dude will have a more squared off shape where the neck comes out of the jaw. If you take lenses have curvature to them, so they're not telling the truth. I mean, theoretically, a 35 millimeter lens is the closest thing to truth I've heard, maybe more like 50 millimeters, I've heard other people say. But even so, your cell phone lenses, they all have curvature. And so none of it's true. No part of that shot is actual truth. There's always distortion, and you can only kind of pick one part of the image to tell the truth with. So if you hold your cell phone right side up, that isn't actually the best calibration to flatter people. You take all of your vertical selfies, or vertical photos of people rather, upside down.
What?
And hold the camera up high. It accentuates the hourglass shape of a feminine neck, and ladies always like that picture better. Just get it up about eyebrow level, not so high that it looks like a mom taking a selfie on Facebook with duck face, because they're in like 2018. All the moms figured out that if they held the camera way over their head and looked up at it, they imagined that was flattering, but it's not either. That's a ridiculous angle. But you just hold your iPhone upside down so the lenses are on the bottom of the camera, and then put the bottom of the camera at about eyebrow level for a woman, and just tilt the camera down. Just like tilt it back in toward your body just a little bit, and it'll make the neck and jaw look more like reality. It looks more like, oh yeah, that's when I just look at that woman, those are the feminine features that I see in real life. And that's just kind of how you cheat it. So whenever we go places, I always offer to take pictures of couples and stuff. And I grab their phone and I do these little tricks and I give it to them. And they're always really happy, not because it's a great picture, but because it just actually looks like them. An upward angle means that you're getting all of the curvature of the lens accentuating your jowls and lymph nodes And it just creates this weird kind of grotesque distortion that isn't just unflattering. It just isn't true. That isn't how you actually look.
Huh.
So I don't mind you being conscious of that or people being conscious of that at all. The camera is a liar, and knowing how it lies can make you feel a lot better about the way people remember you through the photographs they take.
Interesting.
I don't think that's vanity.
Interesting.
But it seems like maybe you kind of do think that's vanity.
No, I just think it's, I just don't like it about myself. I think it would be very difficult to get photos. Well, not very difficult. It's more difficult to get photos like my dad took now.
How would you do it if you were going to try to pull that off now?
It would just come.
How would you keep people from doing the shtick?
It would come off as creepy because you would like pull your phone out and take a shot in the moment, and it comes off like you're trying to hide the camera, like you're trying to sneak something. Like I'm going to send a photo to you right now.
Okay.
It's a very important photograph, and
what do you want me to do here?
You see the photo of the guy playing mandolin? See the guy?
I'm just not understanding. Do you want me to look at something? What is it you want me to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What are your instructions to me right now?
Look at the photo I just sent you of the guy playing mandolin.
I just wanted you to say, look at this photograph.
Look at this photograph. I'm sorry. I didn't understand. Matt, I'm sorry. I messed that up.
It seems so obvious. I sent you a picture. Look at it, I guess. Why are you like this? Okay, no, I understand. All right, I'm looking at a guy who's got a mandolin.
Yeah, so
okay.
I've told you about one of my dad's best friends growing up, who's the same name as your dad's name, Rex.
Yeah.
This is Rex on the right.
That's Rex?
Playing mandolin, yeah.
Smoking and playing mandolin, that's Rex.
That's Rex.
Right on, Rex.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, this was towards the end of his life, but Rex played mandolin, and I just absolutely loved that guy. And one of my favorite memories is going up to a local coffee shop, and I'm going to forward this one. I'm going to play this audio real quick. Tell me when you get it with your secret phone. So They used to go up to a coffee shop, and Dad didn't know how to play an instrument like they did, but Rex would play mandolins that he built with these other guys that would show up with a banjo and a guitar, and they would just goof around. And Rex is sitting there smoking, drinking coffee, playing a mandolin in the back room of a diner, and we just did this all the time. The code word was, hey, do you want to go get a cup of coffee? And I would say, yes. I would never drink coffee with him. I do now, but I didn't then. But I would go up and I would get to hear magic, and it's this.
Oh, my.
Did you hear it?
That's good. Yeah, it's good and it's real.
It's real, and they're finding it. Like they're finding it in the moment, and they're messing it up, and they keep going. And Dad had his camera there, and he was just filming it. And you just don't get candid moments like this from this era. You get them from.
Wait, is this why our podcast theme song is what it is?
Mandolin?
Is this why you pushed us? Yeah, because when we came up with that years and years ago. You were like, I have an idea for how I want this to feel.
I don't know.
That's it. I mean, that's what our it's
maybe.
It's exactly what it is.
I don't know. I just knew it was a great place in my mind. Yeah. And maybe that was a deep, deep cut that I didn't even understand myself. I used to love watching this. It was just an interesting thing going through this CD that I found. And obviously there's the obvious nostalgia thing. It was really fun to be able to just send people these photos that my dad took. He gets full credit for it. But they all felt seen in a way that was odd. They all said, where did you get this? And I wouldn't say anything, and I would just send him another photo.
Seen.
Yeah.
And what a funny thing that all of our preening in the Instagram age deprives our future selves of being able to see our younger selves in this moment. Because we postured so hard, because for whatever reason, that's just what we're conditioned to do, is be fake when cameras come out.
Another one just happened. Sorry, as you were talking, I'm sorry, I had sent a picture of one of my buddies from high school. I sent a picture of him to him, which I'm sending to you now. I sent him that photo, and he hasn't replied. I sent it at was, let's see, 11 p.m. last night. His response is,
Okay.
LOL, geez, look at those little kids. Talking about himself. It's not just looking at photos of your old self. There's something different about this. I'm sorry.
There's something different about it. And further, there's no smart response to it. I've been doing this for weeks. I built a server a while back, a media server. I've got all my drives hooked up. I'm trying to organize my life. To me, it bothers me that all these photos are just lingering. I don't know where they are and I don't know what they are. I want them in order. I'm literally making a folder of all the photos on a crazy fast solid state drive that can handle it. And they're just in order, sort by date. That's it. I just want a straight chronology. I'm doing a bunch of other organizational things as well. But as I come across people from chapters of life, like, dang, I haven't talked to this dude from that chapter for a long time. Boom, 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 boom. There's a bunch of photographs of that. Well, nobody knows what to say. And that's part of the fun of it for me. I mean, good times. I miss that. I remember that day. I mean, it just catches you kind of flat-footed. You don't really know what to do with it. And so I really like that the question that you're taking from it is, how do we capture stuff like that now? What's the workaround? I have one cheat that I've been developing. Can you describe the photograph I just sent to you?
Oh, wow. It's, that looks hard. It's the letter G. How did you do that? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay, so hips and flexibility, and it's about breathing.
Can I describe the people in the photo?
Yeah, the first one of the two I sent you is the relevant photo.
Okay, there's a body of water in the background. There's a lady. She appears to be ethnically Latina. She has completed a Capri Sun. And she's looking off camera, camera left, and she's wearing aviators on top of her head. It looks like her husband, or I'm going to say husband or fiance or something. He is beside her, and he's kissing her on the cheek, but she's happy and looking off to the side, not ignoring him, but they're in a very happy moment. He's got a beach towel, so I'm going to say they're at the beach, and she's very loved, and he loves her. And the word I would use is he is adoring her. And she feels it, but she doesn't feel the need to turn around and look at him. But they're doing something fun together, and he just genuinely adores her.
So I love this photo, and you described it really well. I took this photo in April in San Diego, Orange County, when I was down there doing some work on stuff. My buddy and I, Jeff, went to the Pirates Cove Beach, and we just walked around. We were looking at stuff. I was walking out on the pier, and these two were enjoying the sunset, and they were in love, and they were both so happy, and it was just great. And I loved their dynamic, and I loved the way they treated each other. And the way they showed it, I loved the fact that she was working down a Capri Sun. It was just beautiful. It was a beautiful picture of love to me. And I kind of wanted to keep it. Like, I wanted to bring it home. I wanted to show Camilla. So how do you take that picture without them immediately being appalled that some guy standing 15 feet from them just got out his camera and took a picture of this nice moment? Well, I said, Jeff, come here, buddy. And I grabbed my camera, and I made a peace sign and put it up by my chin and held the camera out at arm's length. And I was like, all right, 1, 2, 3, except the camera wasn't facing us at all. It was facing them. And I just took the picture, and there was no selfie. And I got that.
Yeah.
So that's a ridiculous length to have to go to catch an authentic moment. But what would that photo have looked like if I went up and was like, excuse me, or in Spanish, like, could I take a photo? You seem very in love. Could I take a photo of you?
And then
what would happen?
Then they would look at the camera, and you wouldn't have captured what you captured here. Did you give this to them?
I thought about it, and ultimately I decided that I was not going to give it to them. No, they were happy. They didn't want to be interrupted. You know, the social thing you do where you kind of linger around a little bit and you sort of like
feel it out,
make it natural for us to just sort of bump into each other and have a conversation. Like I sort of made myself present a little bit.
Yeah.
But they were genuinely so deep in this moment, I was going to wreck it to give him the picture, and I didn't want to, so I didn't give it to him.
I respect that decision. I think you have captured here the kinds of things that my dad used to capture. Obviously, it would mean the world to this couple to have this. I mean, this is the kind of thing that magazine people, that photographers, that LL Bean or whatever, they try to emulate what you've got here, maybe without the Capri Sun. But you've got an actual moment here. And what's so interesting is what you've done, forgive me for saying this, it feels deceptive. It feels like you've taken a step to deceive in order to capture this. And I disagree with that part of it, but I also don't know how you could have done it otherwise. I'm torn here. I've observed in the past when people recognize me from Smarter Every Day, they will try to pretend they're doing something with their phone and they'll take a photo of me. And it feels like they're deceiving me. And so it puts a barrier in between us that I don't want there. So the game I always try to play, it's happened a few times, where if I see it happening, I'll wait until they think I'm not looking, and then I'll look directly at the phone and like point at it.
Yes.
Try to be funny, try to turn it into a funny thing, and then I just walk over and talk to them. But that's what those people did.
The difference is you're famous, and that's different.
I'm not famous, but
that's
you know what I mean. Yeah.
People recognize you. I mean, look, your face has been in front of people a gajillion times. It just happens. It's okay. I'm sorry. I know that word makes you uncomfortable, but for the sake of the contrast, I think it's important. So if you'll grant it to me, let's just say you have at least some degree of fame and notoriety beyond your normal social circle that most people don't have. That changes the equation. These people weren't.
Yeah.
And so it means something totally different to point a camera at some guy than it does at, someone I've seen in the movies or whatever. Yeah, in this case, it was just such a beautiful moment.
It's gorgeous.
And so I conspired for a trick to get it.
It's also at golden hour, and the light is falling across her face in a really good... Is it called Rembrandt lighting, when the light comes from the side and you get that little triangle between the eye and the nose? The triangle of light? Is that what that's called?
I've heard that term for what you just described, but I don't know what the actual parameters are, so I'm just going to defer.
I'll say this. You did a very, very good job composing this shot, especially on the fly. You sent me a photo of your lovely bride the other day.
Huh. Yeah?
Let's just describe what we like about our... I don't know. Here, I'll send you this picture back. This is the picture you sent me.
Okay.
Let's just describe why we think our wives are pretty.
Dude, that could just be like a whole podcast.
I know.
We should just start another one. Why our wives are pretty. I don't know. People might get bored. Yeah, I'm game. Okay, well, here's what I loved about these two photos. And yes, I sent them to you to say, look at these photos of my young wife and how pretty she is. Here's what I love. There is nothing artificial about these two photographs. There's not a bit of makeup. There's not a bit of getting ready to take these pictures. This is just sun-drenched Camilla with just all of that beautiful brown hair that is so thick and flowing, and the most natural, easygoing, authentic smile. All the emotions come through with every expression that she makes, and somehow they're all gentle. She's elegant. She's refined. And even when I met her and I was an idiot 18-year-old, I remember thinking and saying even to some of my friends about this girl I had a crush on, she's going to be beautiful when she's old. None of it's fake. It's all real. There's no pretense. It's real pretty. Like the little bit of like clavicle that you can see there, and just like the curvature of her neck and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's honest beauty. And I love these two photos.
Yeah.
Also, my daughter inherited so many of these traits. And so it's fun that I get to see some of the favorite things about the elegance and loveliness of my wife manifesting in the features of my daughters as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Camilla is beautiful. She's a beautiful lady.
Oh, look at this one.
Yeah. And what I love about one of the photos of Camilla there is what's going on with her eyebrows there. Explain that to me.
This is her. I'm pretending that you probably shouldn't have said that, but I'm charmed to no end that you did, and I know it was actually funny. So it's the fake wince. I'm trying not to laugh because I don't want to look like I totally give approval to this, but you know dang well that I thought it was funny anyway. So yeah, the eyebrows are going up in the middle with tenderness and also restraint and also, okay, we're having a moment and we're laughing at things.
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's actually fantastic. So we have a joke in our marriage that Tara hates, like absolutely hates it when I take photos of her when she's tired. But that's when I think she's most beautiful, is when she's absolutely dog tired. And
why is that?
I have no idea. But I just find it incredibly attractive. She's just gorgeous. And so I'm going to send you a couple of photos here, and all these that I'm sending you are when she's tired. I can't take my eyes off of them. I've got them on my phone. They're hearted. I've got plenty of photos here of her just absolutely gorgeous. I found our wedding day.
Oh my goodness. Photos. These are fun, man.
Yeah, they are.
A quick comment on the first one you sent me.
Yeah.
Of her wearing the Roll Tide hat.
Yeah.
Dude, you've got like fairy lights or something in the background, and I can tell you're using a nice lens because, I mean, you could tell the quality of lens by the shape of the bokeh'd out light in the background. If it's really crystalline and has sharp edges, it's a cheap lens. If it's just perfectly round, like just this glowing, magical forest pixie sprite orb in the background, you know you shot this with something nice. And so it just looks like the moment where the couple falls in love in the movie and they make all that background lighting so beautiful and perfect. It's just a very magical, sincere photo. And I really, really like it.
It is. The thing I like about it is I can read so much more into the photo. And this photo is, what she's saying here is, I don't want you to take this photo, but I know you really want to. And you think I'm beautiful.
It looks like you did take it.
What'd you say?
It looks like you did take it.
I did take it because she's gorgeous. I took it on film. One of my favorite photos is the one with in front of the car wash that's got the red, yellow, and blue stripe on the wall. You see that?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Hair disheveled, and that's after a long trip we made for an anniversary. We were just really tired. And the other ones down there below are on the streets of London with the skies in the background, and she's totally jet lagged out of her mind. And she's trying so hard to stay awake.
Dude, the one on the street next to this little storefront is so good. Guard is completely down. I didn't know this was London, but I could tell you were in another country because there is a guard down look that I get out of Camilla that is, we're not in our country anymore and this feels different.
Yeah.
And Tara is wearing that right here as well as tiredness. And she just looks delightful. It looks like a wonderful moment.
Yeah. I love those photos of our loved ones in moments when they're real. When you sent me those photos of Camilla, they reminded me of the photos I've taken of Tara that are just... Because I thought the same thing. When I first started dating Tara, I was like, you're actually gorgeous. You're beautiful, and you have no makeup on. And you're just going to... And it continues to be true. I just wake up next to a beautiful person. It's great. So... We're blessed men, man. We really are.
Yes.
What are we even talking about now? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that is my job. I forgot for a minute that I am the keeper of the pin in things on this program. Here's what I make of this conversation. There's a relationship, and there always has been, even before cameras, between memory and reality. There's a relationship between images, portrayals, and reality. They inform each other, but they're not the same thing. And what I'm hearing from you is that your taste in recording, in memories, it more skews toward don't overly idealize it. That for you seem to most value, remind me of what it was in that moment. You like that it tells the truth. I mean, you like technical excellence too, but kind of in everything. The way you do relationships, the way you make videos on the internet, the way you do podcasting, stuff people see, stuff that only your friends would know. You prefer the actual over the most technically flawless representation possible. And not everybody has that same taste. It's very fashionable right now to want things to look the most produced they possibly can. The promise of everybody with a cell phone can look like a movie star or a celebrity now is very alluring. I think it'll be kind of cool when that era passes, because I'm with you. I think that telling the real story about what a thing was for all of its good, bad, tired, and everything is probably my preference as well. So I think we've made an episode about the relationship between the reality of what was and the way we document it and remember it.
I want to thank you for holding up a mirror to me. You said, it was a very passing comment somewhere deep in the bowels of this episode. You said something about, there was a brief period of time, Destin, where when you were uploading things to Instagram a lot, you were not, what did you say? I was not as present, or?
I don't remember what I said. It's something like that.
Yeah. Basically you said the way I documented stuff was different in that period of time. And I think I did get sucked into that. I do think I did. I was posting a lot on Instagram and even Snapchat and stuff like that. These photos that my dad took in an era where that wasn't even a possibility, they were more real. And when I send them to people now, they feel things in a way that they don't feel with any photo that's been taken, by me at least, in more recent years. And it's because my dad did it differently. And so I have learned from my father, who's never been paid to take pictures and put things on the internet, how to take pictures that really matter. And so I think I've learned something from Dad. I've learned a lot from you in this conversation. So thank you for that.
Well, yeah, it's just, it's the natural growth of people. You have the same effect on me. And it's weird. Like, we get our precious little rings sometimes and it becomes very precious to us. And it's just funny. We've all got our little thing, but like, kind of your superpower is documenting stuff really honestly. And yeah, so it makes sense that you would go through a little phase of, well, what would it look like to document differently? And I'm not surprised you've landed where you did, because I think it's your true heart.
So what's the takeaway? Do we sneak pictures of people when they're not looking?
I'm going to keep sneaking pictures of people, man. I'm telling you right now.
I think you have to give it to the person, though, because Tara has this rule.
Come on.
Tara's rule is, hey, you took that picture of that person, they get to say what happens to it. And that's her rule for the kids. Like, if they take a picture of one of their friends, like, hey, you don't get to post that. You have to.
Well, yeah, but you know them.
I think it's the kind thing to do.
I don't know. I mean, isn't there some kind of thing about there are certain environments in which you can have no reasonable expectation of privacy?
Yeah.
I don't, come on. Like, I don't
know.
So we went, I don't know what to do with that. I don't share quite the same moral conviction you do. I think there is a way to do that in taste and decency and kindness. And it kind of ruins it if you then have to run up and be like, I took a photo of you on my phone by lying. Again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not committing to anything morally in this way. Oh, crap. I don't know, dude. We're a freaking mess. We're trying.
Yeah.
Like, life is passing. We live in a weird time. We're doing our best. I'm so grateful for the beautiful things in our lives.
I am too. Yeah.
If we have different rules for how we sneak pictures of people doing beautiful things in beautiful moments, I think we can still be friends.
Sounds good. All right. I got to go in here and work on my paper, man. I'm going to let you go.
Thanks, pal. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
Later, brother.